Hello and welcome into crushthestreet.com. I'm Kenneth Amaduri, and I'm very honored today. I got popular first-time guest, Bill Still. He's still reporting, and this is someone I found in my early days when I started searching the internet for Austrian economics, some opinions on what's going on in the economy. And this is the guy that has come up time and time again. And so it's a real honor for me to have him on Crush the Street today. His YouTube channel is The Still Report, and his website is billstill.com. And there's so much to say about him. He's an author, reporter, produced some amazing documentaries. So without any further ado, Bill, thanks for coming on the show with me today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much for having me.
Bill, well, it would appear that the Trump haters can take a break from the Russian hacking conspiracy because now they can call him a racist for apparently empowering the white supremacists that drove the car into the crowd in Charlottesville. So you live in Virginia, part of the country. What are your thoughts on this?
Where do I start with this? First of all, just in your first sentence where you said they can take a break from this, it's not that they can take a break, it's that they know they have to take a break. They have to change course because the entire Russia conspiracy theory is about to blow up in their face. Julian Assange last night said that he has additional information that he's willing to now divulge concerning that will prove that it was not the Russians that hacked into the DNC email server. It was somebody else. Furthermore, the top technical internet guy in the world, a guy by the name of Bill Binney, who is the technical director for the world for the NSA for many years, and friends of his have analyzed the metadata of the releases by Guccifer, and that shows that Guccifer didn't hack those. Those could not possibly have been hacked over the internet. It had to be an inside job, probably Seth Rich, in my opinion. It had to be an inside job because the data rate was about 2 terabytes in 87 seconds.
Wow.
The internet will not sustain that. Only a data key will sustain that, some type of external storage device. So their whole thing is going to totally blow up. So they've got to try something else. And the only other thing to try is the old Nazi way of doing things. Hire a bunch of thugs, try to suppress, try to beat up on any pro-Trump people that you can. Another story in Zero Hedge this morning was that at least some of the Antifa protesters at the Charlottesville meeting were hired through a company, a Hollywood, California company, but through another company in Charlotte, North Carolina, and they were paying them $25 an hour. And if you would read the posting, it was remarkable. I've never read a posting like it. Have fun protesting, and get paid $25 an hour. And I couldn't believe that the first time I saw it. That as a result of that one Trump rally in San Jose, where they hired a bunch of thug protesters from San Francisco and drove them down to San Jose, and then the cops funneled some of the Trump crowd as they came out of the venue right into where they had cordoned off the protesters. So they funneled that crowd right into the protesters to get beat up on, which is exactly the modus operandi they used in Charlottesville. They funneled they funneled all the people that were the anti take down the Lee statue folks right into the thug crowd to have them get beat up. So I don't know where to go from that other than I need a drink. Right.
All right. Well, so I watched the impromptu press conference, and it really felt like members of the press there were there to attack and misrepresent the president rather than just report. They came at Trump like he was guilty, and Trump had to defend himself on something that there was no crime. He had done nothing but sit there and basically come against these white nationalists. He had said, hey, he doesn't agree with it, but yet the members of the press want to associate Trump as being a racist. And what do you have to say about this?
Well, that's because that's the only card they have left to play. And it's a card they're getting a lot of traction with in the MSM. I think Trump did a brilliant job during that. It was an infrastructure press conference, basically, and they turned it into a Charlottesville press conference. I think he did a brilliant job biting back and saying, George Washington owned slaves. Is he going to be next? Thomas Jefferson owned slaves. Is he going to be next? And really, how far does it go? And, the same thing the Nazis did, the same thing the Trotskyites did in the Soviet Union, try to erase the national history. And that's basically what they're going to try to do. And it's been tremendously effective. I can't believe that college students, especially young college women, would not see through this. And how they get hooked into this, I just don't have any idea. But it's a direct attack on civilization. Like Tucker Carlson said last night, once you politicize the police, you end civilization. Because it ends the rule of law, which is, by definition, what civilization means.
One of the things you reported on was that many of the white nationalists, white supremacists that were there in Charlottesville were not actually native to Virginia. And you've already said this, but it also begs the question how they got there in the first place, because many people who have this belief, they can be summarized as many of them not having very much money. So how would they have been able to travel across the country to get to Virginia? So just kind of touch on that before we get into our next topic.
Well, I wish I would have printed out the circular that appeared in one of the online media in the Charlotte area, which is a posting for an ad, and they said it's $25 an hour plus we pay for your Uber, for your food, we'll bus you there to the venue and all that. So it was all expenses paid. And if you're hanging around smoking pot or whatever all day, somebody offers you $25 an hour plus all expenses, of course you're going to go.
All right, Bill, we've covered Bitcoin quite a bit here at Crush the Street, and you as well have been someone that has covered it. And I want to start off by asking you, what is your curiosity? What piqued your interest in regards to Bitcoin?
Well, I was dead set against Bitcoin at the start, just because I don't know, I didn't think it was a proper form of money system. But really, money is whatever people agree to trade with. And so people are agreeing to trade with all forms of cryptocurrency at this point. And you're seeing every day there's another prediction of Bitcoin 50,000, Bitcoin 100,000, Bitcoin 1 million. And I believe it. There will not be enough Bitcoins. There are not enough now so that every millionaire in the world can have one Bitcoin. It's as simple as that. And even as Bitcoin continues to expand, there are about 14 million millionaires in the world right now, and about 14 million Bitcoin. And the 900,000 new millionaires were added just in the past year. So it's the number of millionaires are outstripping the rate at which Bitcoin is being mined. And so there won't be enough to have even one Bitcoin for every millionaire in the world. So you can see that, this scarcity is typically what drives up prices, and that's exactly what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a strong point right there. I've never put it in that perspective, but it is a strong point. And you're a veteran in the world of economics, and do you see what we are seeing happening in Bitcoin as sustainable? And can we compare it to the adoption of any other asset in history to try to get a feel for what inning or what stage we are in this Bitcoin cycle?
No, because it's totally brand new. There's never been anything like this before. You can't compare it to metals. You can't compare it to anything. You can't compare it to central banking. It's totally unique, outside of human control, actually.
So is one part of you or any part of you at all skeptical about Bitcoin, simply for the fact that you can't boil it down to something such as gold, which you can wear around your neck at least, or use in some sort of industrial purpose? If people decide that we're not going to use Bitcoin in 2025, let's say, it goes to nothing, right? And so people switch to something else. So is there any part of Bitcoin that makes you skeptical at all?
Well, no, not for my lifetime. Not as long as I just don't see how it's going to be stopped at this point. And like I say, I started out a big skeptic, but gold at this point, I just read a lengthy article this morning about how gold and silver contracts are, when you combine purchases of the physical metal with the paper contracts, it's ramping up tremendously over last year. And I just emailed the author back and said, well, that's great, but explain to me then how come the price is not moving up that dramatically? I mean, despite the fact that, China wants all this physical, everybody wants physical, then you got the paper contracts. Well, okay, how about the price? What's going on with the price? Explain that to me. And I don't have an explanation for it. All the money's going into Bitcoin, I guess. I don't know.
Well, the argument is that gold is manipulated to a large degree, right? It's diluted with the paper price. The paper price has diluted the physical. And when that happens, the price doesn't reflect what the actual underlying value should be, right?
Well, this is a wonderful change for the gold bugs. I've battled gold bugs for 20 years. And that was always their argument, that it couldn't be manipulated. The price was stable, etc. So, it's no better than fiat currency. I mean, so what? What's the purpose?
Well, then let's get your thoughts on gold and where we are with it. Obviously, there's a lot of problems going on with the economy. The Federal Reserve seems to be really on shaky ground as to what to do going forward: raise interest rates, keep them the same, reduce the balance sheet. There's so many conflicting points of view as to where to go with this, and people are concerned about the monetary system, which is why we're seeing Bitcoin do so well, especially globally, with a lot of countries falling under and capital controls. So what are your thoughts on gold then, if having said that?
I just don't know. I don't know what's going on with gold. I have to admit, I asked that guy a legitimate question. I want to know, how come the price is being suppressed if everybody's buying it? I'm sorry, I just don't have a good answer for you there. I mean, the ultimate answer, and hopefully Bitcoin and cryptos in general, can break the back of the central bankers' debt money system. And we can get back to sovereign money, sovereign national money, which supports nationalism and not globalism. Then I don't know what's next. I got off the monetary reform train just because I see something. We aren't going to have the privilege of debating monetary reform versus gold if we don't pay attention to world politics right now, which could easily destroy civilization as we know it, which means the rule of law. And even libertarian philosophies have to acknowledge that without the rule of law, there can only be the law of the jungle. And those of us in the West have lived, relatively speaking, a very high lifestyle compared to some of the poorer nations that are trying to migrate here. And they're much more capable of living under a law of the jungle type of condition than we are. we need our comforts and all that. And that's the essence of civilization, is that it builds up a society like this where there's a division of labor and all that, so that everybody can just specialize in one thing, and the society still functions. But that's not what's coming at us. It's coming at it, and this other thing is coming at us to destroy us. And if we don't pay attention, it will certainly destroy us.
You know, Bill, I must agree with you that and express my my empathy for the feeling that, hey, you know, precious metals haven't done what we all thought that they were going to do. And, you know, just watching cryptocurrencies, it's like, that's what gold was supposed to do. That's what silver was supposed to do.
Right.
Watching Ethereum go from $10 to $200, $300, $400, over $400 for a short period of time, then settling back down where it is now. That's what we all are expecting silver to do. And here we are with $17 silver. You know, we're getting close to $1,300 gold here. And I to give you some, I guess, some empathy here. We're all dealing with that frustration with precious metals, and we're seeing it happen in cryptocurrency, which is a large reason why we cover it here to such a large degree at Crush the Street. So just touch on that global political change that you see happening. Where does the breakdown happening, in your opinion? And you know, where is the pressure point?
The pressure points are Charlottesville. That's the leading edge of this conflict, and there'll be another Charlottesville. And we were told that these rioting would come back in January, February, and I just didn't believe that it was actually really going to happen. But here it is, and you know, when you have somebody who's willing to expend hundreds of millions of dollars in paying people off to go and literally fight against civilization, it can have a real impact.
Mm. Well, I want to close on one final thought here and circle back around to Trump. And Trump has been dealing with a lot of vitriol, a lot of attacks. And is he going to be able to overcome this and potentially win a second term, in your opinion?
Well, I'm of two minds. If I just look at the news, the day-to-day news flow, I can get really depressed, and did a couple of days ago. But I just think eventually we're going to get by this, and Trump is going to revolutionize the way we do things here in the United States. He's already revolutionizing it. The only question is, can this Antifa force blow him off course enough to destroy it? It's the battle of our ages going right before our eyes right now.
Well, I suppose then it's a matter of who the Democrats put up against him, because if they put up somebody who, for instance, Hillary Clinton running again, I think she'll lose once again, just for the fact that people are tired of seeing her. But if they put up someone who is a real contender, someone who connects with the people, Trump might have a real issue competing that people really like and connect with. Because that's one thing I've always said. People didn't like Hillary Clinton, and she didn't connect with the people.
Well, you got to know that Bernie's going to be in there next time. He's not going to give up. You got to know that Pocahontas is going to be in there. She's not going to give up. I mean, it's going to be a pitched battle with the DNC, and who knows what WikiLeaks is going to come out with in the next few days, few weeks. There's just no way to tell. But I think a real touchstone is going to be the congressional elections a little over a year from now. It looks like the Democrats are doubling down on this thuggery way of going about things, and that's not going to work for them, I sincerely hope. And, you know, then we'll see what takes place. If they really want to, you know, gut themselves and make a real change, then that could only be good for the United States.
And of course, we need to see some Republicans come together. This debacle with the health care and guys like John McCain not going to coming on board here, it's going to be a big problem for the Republicans, and they could lose some momentum going into that congressional election. Trump's going to have his work cut out for him, because it's not just a right and left thing. I mean, the whole Republican Party is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, but I mean, that's what you get when you truly intend to go to Washington to do what you promised, namely drain the swamp. Washington is a swamp of financial collusion. And that's what Trump is staking his whole life and his family's life on trying to fix. And, they're not going to go happily away, the McCains of this world and the Lindsey Grahams.
Well, we had a little bit of a disconnect right there. Sorry about that, Bill. But, I want to give you an opportunity here to share with the audience what they can learn if they visit you at your YouTube channel and your website. And, of course, thank you so much for coming on Crush the Street. It's a big honor for me to have you on the show today.
I don't know what they can learn. They can, you either know what I'm into or you don't. I don't have any big commercial to give your audience. I'm sorry.
All right, Bill. Well, hey, you're a good guy out there, and thanks so much for coming on Crush the Street.
Thanks for having me.